Hello students, you are welcome in the Economica IAS YouTube channel. As we are going to discuss here the expected questions for Civil Service Mains 2026 on Indian economy. And today I have find out a very important issue, wider concept which includes and based upon recent budget of the government of India. Question is very simple but it can be asked in multiple ways. That's why I try to summarize all the points under this one question. If they are asking diverted questions, you can do that questions very easily. If you understand the basic theme of this budget 2026 and 27. Examine the main features and priorities of recent union budget. How does it promote growth, employment and fiscal discipline? This question focus on main features and priorities of the budget. Second, how does it promote growth, employment and fiscal discipline? As you know students, budget means government income and expenditure policy. If you completely focus where the government is spent its funds, what are the priority for spending of these funds, and how the government raising the revenue. If you understand this basic philosophy, then you can do any questions which can be asked by UPSC Mains 2026, but I try to concentrate on certain main features. Number first, you can see infrastructure lead growth. You know, infrastructure development is the main constraints in the economic development since 1947 till today. You can see the deficiency of road, railway, waterways, irrigation facilities, digital deficiency. All these kinds of infrastructural deficiency actually is the main constraints in development. And if our budget completely focused on these issues, then definitely we can achieve the higher growth rate in our economy very easily. If you focus the infrastructure lead development, our government since beginning focus on more capital expenditure rather than revenue expenditure. You have to understand the difference between capital and revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure for incurring day-to-day expenses of the government as well as other needs of the government, but capital expenditure are creating roads, waterways, airways, irrigation facilities, digital infrastructure or other kinds of capital which enhance the growth rate of the economy. In recent budget for the 2026-27, government increased the capital expenditure 12.2 lakh crore rupees. Memorize this point. If our capital expenditure target 12.2 lakh, that is the huge expenditure, what it will do, how it promotes the growth, employment and fiscal discipline. One thing more which you have to understand, if public sector capital expenditure is more, means it will generate more profit possibilities in the market. It will attract both domestic and foreign investment in our economy. More investment, more growth, more employment opportunity. And if more revenue also generated, as you know, our tax structure, it may be direct or indirect, both are bionent. What the meaning of bionent of taxes? Means if our GDP increase 10% and tax revenue increase more than 10%, that is bionent tax. And if our GDP say increase 10% but tax revenue increase say 8%, this is less bionent. And if our GDP increase 10%, tax also increase 10%, then it is known as unitary buoyancy of our tax. This is the meaning. Now understand, if more or huge investment in infrastructure facilities, as I told you, high speed railway, etc., logistics, etc., what it will do? It will promote crowding. In effect means more private sector investment, foreign investment, that will boost up all our economy by promoting higher growth rate, by promoting more employment opportunities, by increasing revenue. If revenue is increasing, automatically fiscal consolidation target will achieve. As you can see, Government of India targeted fiscal deficit for the recent current financial year 4.3% of GDP, which is less than previous year 2025-26 4.4% of GDP. It means somewhere by the development of infrastructure, huge investment on behalf of public sector, we can achieve three objectives without any contradiction. Generally what happened? If our public expenditure is more on revenue account, then our fiscal discipline target can't be achieved. Or you can say growth will higher with higher inflation without any fiscal discipline. This is the best management done by the government under this budget. You can realize and you can understand this point. Second, manufacturing industrial development. Manufacturing and industrial development. As you know, if the industrial sector growth rate is higher, specifically manufacturing growth rate is higher, what it will do? Think sharply. Our budget focus on the development on manufacturing industries development as well as other industries. This will promote more and more export from our country, more foreign exchange revenue generation. More revenue means least capital account or revenue account, or you can say current account deficit. If our trade is positively affecting the economy, what it will do? We can generate more foreign exchange, more revenue for further investment. One point which you have to understand. Expansion of the industries also generate the more employment opportunity, and via linkage effect, forward linkage effect and backward linkage effect, our industries also boost up the development of our primary sector via the backward linkage effect, as well as primary sector output will be consumed by the industry, that is forward linkage effect between agriculture or primary sector to industry, and simultaneously more employment, more consumption automatically boost up the development. This will be the effect of the development of manufacturing industrial development on growth, higher employment opportunity, or less fiscal deficit. You can understand this point. Government also launched, as you can see, semiconductor mission to support electronics, biopharma, and critical minerals, strengthening supply chain. Under this strategy, manufacturing and industrial development, this is the strategy of recent budget. Strategy also emphasis on Make in India strategic sector. Make in India, as you know, Vikshit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, Vikshit Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat, these are the part of the development of our industries. Third point, micro, small, medium enterprises and entrepreneurship support. Student, you know, this MSMEs is the second largest area of employment generation. One point. They are going to equitable distribute the resources. They are reducing the regional disparities. They are consuming the regional means of production, that is factor of production. It may be local capital, entrepreneurship. Other part, Government of India also support the entrepreneurship program by skilling program, etc. What it will do? Government also creating credit facilities by multiple ways, as in recent budget government created 10,000 crore rupee small micro enterprises guarantee fund, or growth fund. This fund will facilitate the credit to the MSME and other accessibility of credit to MSME, entrepreneurship skilling program, all will boost up the development, and all the development of these one automatically promote higher growth. As you know, out of total manufacturing industries, our MSME is contributing 45%. What does it mean? If it is contributing 45% of total manufacturing output, in total industrial output, its contribution is around about 32%. In employment, more than 11 crore people are working in MSMEs directly or indirectly. Now you can understand this role. They also generate the more revenue in the form of tax, in the form of export earnings. It means fiscal consolidation target also achieved very simply by the development of this. Balanced development. What is the meaning of balanced development? Without any inflation, growth with price stability. If you think about the tax reform, under the personal income tax, government giving the more tax exemptions up to 12 lakh rupees. There is no tax need if the taxpayer have the income up to 12 lakh rupees. They are not give any single rupees to the government of India in the form of tax. This income tax slab also change what it will do in our economy. Think sharply. It will increase the disposable income. If you go through the economic survey, you will find out that recent previous year budget or previous year financial year 2025-26, our GDP growth rate was 7.2%. It was contributed greatly by our private consumption demand, or you can say our growth rate in previous financial year, not in current also depends on our domestic consumption because of global geopolitical uncertainties, different kinds of trade restrictions imposed by US on India and other countries, different kinds of war taking place in America, Iran, Ukraine and Russia. That kinds of uncertainties were prevailing there, but despite all these factors, our GDP growth rate is very high, very appreciative. That is because of tax reform as well as one side we are enhancing the supply, other side we are increasing the demand. It means somewhere our growth rate are supported by both aggregate supply as well as aggregate demand. In case of agriculture and rural development, the student, agriculture always face the major constraints of infrastructure deficiencies: irrigation deficiency, storage deficiency, marketing deficiency, that is digital deficiency. All these are focused by the government in this budget. You can see for irrigation facilities, government spent the more money under different irrigation scheme of the Pradhan Mantri Sinchai Yojana. Similarly, agriculture sector also supported by the digitalization of agriculture marketing reforms. All these are done by the government for the rural development, road development, technology, and on focus on value addition. These are the strategy of the government. And as you know, if agriculture is well developed, and you can see with the help of data, in 2020, 526 agriculture growth rate is more than 4%. That is boosting the growth rate of all our economy. It means if our agriculture sector is performing better despite its contribution in GDP, say only 16%, but it is actual driver of our growth rate as well as employment generation. As I quote here, agriculture sector till today contributing round about 45% employment out of total employment in our economy. I quote you, despite it contribute only 16% of GDP, but it contribute out of total employment, 45% employment. If agriculture growth rate is more because of high employment elasticity, more employment generation is there. Again, this is the primary sector activity. If its output is more, then it will, by increasing overall output of the economy, generate the more revenue for the government. It means 1 rupee investment due to multiplier effect automatically manage the fiscal discipline, means less pressure on the fiscal discipline. Are you clear? And 6 point, human capital development. Our budget also focusing on human capital. Different kinds of skilling program, more expenditure on health and education. Presently, round about 7.3% of our GDP is goes to only on health and education expenditure. You can see consistently all population indicators are improving. What they show? Increasing life expectancy, decreasing infant mortality rate, decreasing death rate, improving health conditions, improving, minimizing the malnourished problem. All fundamental factors are in our favor because of Government of India policy on human capital formation. Now you can understand digitalization, strengthening of demographic dividend. You know, India is the youngest nation. All these fundamental factors, what they show, that if human capital is better, automatically labor force is qualitatively available, skilled, healthy, 24 into 7. These facilities, more labor force in India. Out of total population, round about 65% population are coming under working population. That is 15 to 60-year-old. If India is the labor abundant, or you can say India is the in the form of population dividend country, that can be utilized for the more growth rate, more fiscal discipline, more revenue is there, and in this way more employment opportunity by the development of this. If you individually think about how these factors are promoting growth, employment, fiscal discipline, I explain with these points. In this way, student, you can utilize this knowledge by writing a good answer. Question may be twisted in means, but expected question from the budget for this year, you listen this lecture multiple times so that you can memorize certain data and you can stratify your knowledge regarding this question. Thank you, student. My present focus is only highlighted more and more important questions which may be asked. You can invest 30 and 20 minutes for this session, but you will definitely realize after the mains 2026 what is the quality of our question and what is the content. Thank you, student.